70 years ago in 1951, a dream was born and a journey began as a group of men and women came together to found Trinity Parish School. The core values of courage, wisdom, and loyalty have guided us as a school ever since. Through the many changes that have occurred over time, from a school with 80 students meeting in a family home to a school with an enrollment of over 830 on a 100-plus acre campus, Brookstone has become one of the best independent schools a family can choose. And through all that time, the tenets that set Brookstone apart have remained. The educational experience is carefully crafted with a personal approach, is sustained by innovative processes, and fosters endless opportunities. But at the heart of Brookstone's history is and has always been the relationships. People matter. They have always mattered, and they will always matter here at Brookstone.
So Brookstone was founded in 1951, and I started in 1954 at Trinity. The first location of Brookstone, Trinity, was in my mother's home. My grandparents' home, and that's where they had the school in that house, which was on Winton Road and corner of Brown Avenue and Winton Road.
With Trinity, I was in Brookstone's pre-K program. I think not Brookstone, Trinity's 4K program. Just remember the big old house. We were in what was probably the living room or the dining room of that big house.
Trinity then moved out here and became Brookstone on this campus. It was a farm, I remember. Years ago, Bradley Park Drive was not here, and it was a working farm. This before this happened.
At that time, this was out in the woods.
The wilderness. There wasn't anything else out here.
This was nothing but a great big cow pasture, and if you'd ridden by it and looked at it, you'd never envisioned that we could have what we have today. The school was fortunate to have such great leadership right in the beginning. And I remember that most of the discussion immediately was, and it had already been going on for a while when I got on the board, was who was going to be the headmaster. And they picked Jim McCauley.
I got a call from this group in Columbus that was thinking about starting a school out of a school that they had, and they were needing a new head of school to come in, which fascinated me to be on the ground floor as such with a school. And so I ended up taking the Brookstone job. And of course, it wasn't until late that summer of '69 that we actually named the school Brookstone.
But that summer, the teachers who were hired met together one night a week to sit and talk about the philosophy of the school. You could not mention anything that was specific, a problem or a suggestion, all the philosophy. So by the time we got to open the school in the fall, we knew where we wanted the school to go. And truthfully, it all, to me, in my mind, all these years, has gone to the motto of the school. And I know you've gotten lots of other words included, but to me, it's that original three: loyalty, courage, and wisdom. And I think everything else feeds off of that. And that's what we wanted to do. And we knew our principal, and we knew the head of the school very well at that point when we opened.
And that name came from a suggestion from Mrs. Tolliver. She knew this stanza and that quoted, "The soft waves flew by the smooth Brookstone," that was in the Song of the Chattahoochee, which of course Brookstone right by the Chattahoochee. And she thought that would be a great suggestion, and everybody fell in love with the idea. It was in the second year of the school that we built the upper school building and acquired that property to the east of the current lower school campus, and built the upper school building.
There was such a response to the school. Originally, the trustees thought that they would gradually build an upper school, but the response was so strong, the original buildings, being the current lower school, were added to by an upper school that housed the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grades. So in the new upper school building, the grade that was the oldest were the 11th grade students.
We had no senior class the first year. The trustees, I think very wisely, believed that if you got a Brookstone diploma, you needed to be here at least 2 years. And a lot of our students in the first class of 21 came from Hamilton, Waverly Hall, West Point, and then a core group, of course, from Columbus.
I used to take the zip codes, all the zip codes within the next 25 miles around here, and there was somebody from in most any of those zip codes. We were a school for all people, and I think that's continued, and that's been was important to me, and I think it's important to the other students to have people with different opinions about different things, and they can talk about these things and discuss those things.
By far, the most impactful part of my Brookstone experience, besides my friends, were the wonderful, wonderful teachers. I'm thinking of Nan Pate and the respect that she showed for us. And she was always bringing in leaders of different sorts to just maybe help us to lift our eyes up from our immediate high school circumstances out to the possibilities. And in that way, I think she and a lot of the others who really served as inspiration had the ability to look at not who we were right then, but who we could be.
Bill Turner had a tremendous impact on me. When I was in high school, I was a student government officer. And Bill Turner decided that he was going to come out and give us leadership lessons. I was so impressed at the time that someone in his position, at the time he was at the helm of this huge company, and he had so many important things to do, that he was there every time we were supposed to meet. He was on time, he was enthusiastic, and he thought that what he was doing with us was important. And I thought, my goodness, that is commitment. That is true commitment. That is one of the lessons that I think I've carried with me, just seeing the example that he set.
I mean, I had so much respect for Bill Turner, for Tom Black, for Henry Swift, Matt Swift, Jenna Norman, Catherine Trotter. It's hard to talk about relationships and not talk about Catherine and all that she meant to Brookstone through the years. But Nan Pate, Nan and Sam Pate, and Dale and Tina Epperson, I mean, the whole Wendell McKenzie. I mean, I still fish every day with a fishing rod Wendell McKenzie gave me. These relationships, last a lifetime, and they mean more than you can imagine. And it certainly meant a lot in the history of this school, people who just love the school, who sacrifice for the betterment of Brookstone School. It's manifested better here than I've seen it at most places. It's really special here. Sam
would also say the 100 trips, he took field trips to Wakulla Springs and St. Mark's are at the top of his heart. He had all of these people who were middle-aged and older, who had children here, some, and they asked to come back with him to to Wakulla, and that meant a lot to him. And most of them brought their field guides, and they had a lifetime of notations by the birds they had seen that he had taught them how to do. and it just touched his heart in this wonderful, wonderful way. So I think those trips would always be special for him.
Our students still search teachers out, search people out, and they're, been gone from Brookstone for 20 years or longer, and they're still have those relationships with those teachers. And I hope we can continue to do that.
There's one student here that really he's my top person. He went to Duke, just tremendous there. Went to the University of Washington, got an MD, PhD. In his PhD dissertation, when he has acknowledgments, he acknowledged me as one of the motivating factors. Now, who says something about a high school teacher in a PhD dissertation? And when I think back, I've been giving a lot of thought, thinking back, and it's all about the people. A lot of my former students, as you mentioned, are really good friends now. And it's just, I look out in my classroom now, and I taught your mama, I taught your daddy, I taught your mama and your daddy, and so all of those things just really, really mean a lot to me. So this, from a historical standpoint, to me, that's what Brookstone's all about, those relationships and those sorts of things.
Brookstone, originally built on the values of loyalty, courage, and wisdom, continues to be strengthened today with our additional focus on honor, service, respect, and leadership that is carried out through the strong relationships and exceptional people devoted to our community. Values matter. Brookstone educates well-prepared students. Just as with our founders, our commitment to their future is steadfast. As we celebrate the history of Brookstone, we look with confidence to the years ahead.